A Ghostly Haunting in Grand Haven, Chapters 5 and 6. Chapter 5. Dad was already through the front door and on the porch when Angela stopped in the foyer and stared at the closet. I was behind her, so I stopped too. "What's wrong?" I asked. She gestured with her right arm, pointing with her red mitten. "The closet door," she said. She had a puzzled look on her face. I looked at the closet. "What about it?" "It was open a little bit when we came in here. Now it's closed." I looked at the closed closet door. Although I was warmly dressed from head to toe, that did not stop an odd chill from forming at the base of my neck and trickling down my spine. But as I looked through the open front door, at the snow swirling around the porch, at the figure of my dad as he trudged back to our van, the chill in my back faded. My uneasiness subsided. "The front door was open while we were in the living room," I said. "The wind must have blown the closet door closed." "Yeah," Angela agreed. "You're probably right." A playful grin bloomed on her face. "Come on, let's get your dad's stuff loaded into the house. Then we can go sledding." It didn't take us long to finish dragging Dad's gear into the house. One of the machines was heavy, and it took all three of us to carry it inside. Dad stumbled on the porch and nearly fell, but he was able to recover. Good thing, too. Not only could he have twisted an ankle, but if we had dropped the heavy machine we were carrying, all three of us could have been hurt. All the while, Dad jabbered on and on and on. We just listened to him, but once in a while I would mutter, or just to let him know I was paying attention, even though I really wasn't. I'd heard all of Dad's ghost hunting talk before. "But this time," Dad said, as if reading my mind, "this time things are going to be different. If this place really is haunted, I'm going to get actual video footage. It's the proof we need to show the world that ghosts really do exist." "That'll be great," I said, trying the best I could to sound interested as we carried the last of the gear inside. When we had finally finished unloading, Angela and I retrieved our plastic sleds from the van. As it turned out, the hill wasn't far away at all. It was on the other side of the thick clump of trees and sloped down toward the lake, and it was steep, too. Angela and I had a great time speeding down the hill on our sleds and then racing up to do it again. Finally, after a couple of hours, we grew tired of walking back up the hill and decided to go back to the house. By now, the snow was coming down heavier than ever, and the wind had increased. It was looking more and more like school would be canceled the next day. Hot dog. As we approached the house, Angela stopped. She stared. "What?" I asked. "I don't know," she replied. "I guess with the blowing snow and the wind, the house looks kind of creepy. I mean, more creepy than before." I looked at the house and then at our van parked in the driveway. The wind howled, the snow sailed. Angela was right. It really did look kind of creepy in the gusting snowstorm. "Come on," I said, shrugging it off. "It's too bad we don't have any hot chocolate to warm us up." We trudged toward the house, dragging our sleds, unaware that our horrifying ordeal was about to begin. Chapter 6. Inside the house, there was no sign of Dad. "Hey, Dad," I shouted, "where did you go?" At first I wasn't alarmed, but when we didn't find him in the living room, and when he didn't return my repeated yells, a small rock settled in my stomach. "He's got to be around here somewhere," Angela said. "I mean, he couldn't just disappear." We were standing next to his homemade machine in the living room. The apparatus looked like a washer and a dryer, one on top of each other, with a computer monitor on top. There were a few other metal component boxes lit with flashing lights, humming with electricity, making strange sounds. Cables coiled and snaked around and onto the floor. On the computer screen, we could see the live video footage of the living room. Dad had positioned a camera on a tripod next to his giant machine. "Dad?" I called out again, a little louder this time. My voice was filled with concern and maybe even a little panic. I was beginning to get worried. Angela took off her red mittens, dropped them on a chair, and pointed at the computer screen. "We're looking at live footage right now," she said. "Is there any way we can play it back?" While I wasn't super familiar with Dad's machine, I knew my way around computers and electronic gizmos pretty well. I took off my gloves and with my bare fingers began fiddling with the keyboard. The screen went dark. "What happened?" Angela asked. "I returned the file to its very beginning," I replied. "Let's play some of it back." On the computer screen, the living room suddenly came into view. It looked the same as it had before, but I knew that we were looking into the past at a recorded video. I found the fast forward function on the software program and I pressed it. At first, it didn't look like anything had changed. Then Dad came into view on the screen, walking through the living room. However, because we had the file on fast forward, Dad was moving in high speed. He kind of looked funny, like some of those old Keystone Cops movies that I had seen, the ones with that funny piano music. His movements were all jerky and quick, cartoon like. Angela and I laughed out loud. Then the same familiar scene returned, and the screen showed just the living room with all the stuff the owners left behind and the pictures on the wall. Suddenly, something else began to appear on the computer screen. "Wait a minute," Angela said in a tense whisper. Her arm shot out and she pointed at the screen. What? What on earth is that?" An image was forming on the computer screen, something in the middle of the living room. It began as a fuzzy white ball and continued to grow. I tapped the computer keyboard and slowed the file down to normal speed. Angela and I watched, both amazed and horrified, as the entity began to grow and grow on the computer screen. Soon it was unmistakable. Arms, legs, a head. The body was motionless, but for the most part, it appeared to waver slowly back and forth, gently, as if in a breeze. Still, there was no doubt what we were seeing. "Oh my gosh," Angela whispered. I can't believe we're seeing this." My world was crashing down, shaken by this new information. The rock in my stomach had grown to the size of a boulder, heavy and solid, knotted and tight. I had always thought my dad was a little off his rocker for believing in hauntings and other weird supernatural things. After all, I hadn't seen any evidence that proved ghosts existed. Until now.